All right, welcome back to our review of the 2018-2019 official rules and coaches resources. In case you did not watch video one, I am Chase Hunter. I am the IUS Bocce chair um, through Special Olympics of Maryland. Part two, we are going to start with uniform requirements and go from there. So, participants are required to be in school uniform for all regular season and tournament play. It is the responsibility of the match and tournament director and match officials to enforce these regulations, and the decision of the tournament director is the final decision. All uniform complaints must be registered before the start of the match. Coaches are required to bring violations to the attention of the tournament director. During the regular season, the ruling will be made by the host administration. It will be the responsibility of the tournament director to make the ruling. At the state tournament, the responsibility will lie with the tournament director and Special Olympics Maryland staff. So we have some logos here that are to be used. All interscholastic unified sports must have the unified sports pill-shaped logo appear on the jersey or shirt or uniform. There are some examples there. This can be printed or embroidered in red, black, or white. Okay. Now the logos need to be in this pill shape. Okay. Please do not have the logo put on there without that shape. That is the official logo that we use. Unified Sports pill-shaped logo can be positioned on the chest, sleeve, or collar of the jersey shirt. So there's a picture of areas that it can be. Shirt must either be a polo or t-shirt type and design. The shirt may not be sleeveless. Shirts must be the color, there must be a school color. However, a white or black shirt with school identification is permitted. No plain white shirts or shirts turned inside out to circumvent the uniform rule. There can be no markings on the shirt other than the school name, player's name, school mascot, manufacturer's trim or logo. No team roster schedules, quotes, or sayings are allowed on competitive shirts. When standing, the apparel must cover the midriff. When it comes to short skirts, athletic pants, ideally we want those of a school color, black or white. We do not want jeans of any color whatsoever, even khaki jeans. We're not doing jeans. Okay, these must be athletic pants, shorts, skirts. Khaki pants are acceptable. Visible garments worn under the uniform must be unadorned and of a single solid color. A school name or insignia is provided. It's no larger than 2.5 inches square, and no dimension is larger than 2.5 inches. Footwear, proper footwear is required. No boots, slippers, open-toed shoes, including flip-flops. Just to keep things nice and safe, let's stick to athletic shoes if at all possible. Obviously, if an athlete's disability warrants them to wear specific footwear, then that is, always welcome, provided there is a need for that. Headgear, no hats, rimless headwear, including bandanas are allowed. Religious or medical related headwear is permissible. For outdoor bocce, hats are allowed. For indoor bocce, they are not. Headbands, wristbands, and armbands must be of a solid color. If a solid color piece of material may be folded or tied and used as a headband as long as it is not wider than 2 inches. Undergarments. Any visible undergarments worn underneath the uniform top or underneath the uniform bottom, extending below the knees, shall be unadorned. There should be no eye catching patterns to it. Just needs to be a single solid color. The undergarments do not have to be the same color as the garments that are covering them. When it comes to leggings, and if you look at the picture provided, Leggings cannot have the transparent sections above the knee unless they're covered by shorts. Leggings in recent times have had these transparent sections added to them for style and comfort, but if they are above the knee, they must be covered by shorts. They cannot just be out there. Penalties when it comes to the uniforms: player may not begin play with an illegal uniform. If an illegal uniform cannot be obtained, the player is disqualified in that event. Uniform violations don't apply during warm-ups. Once the match has begun and a uniform violation is noted, an automatic penalty will be assessed to the player. The player must immediately comply with the uniform rule or the player will be disqualified from the event. Removing the shirt, leaving your upper body bare, will result in disqualification from the event. Players must be in their uniform or proper school issue uniform, such as warm-ups, and must wear proper footwear in order to accept an award. All right, moving on to player assessments. Teams will be divisioned with teams of similar ability levels. Playing against a comparable team leads to more enriching and enjoyable competition experiences. To achieve this outcome, each unified bocce team will provide an assessment score for every player on its team, which is an indicator of his or her skill level. The following is step-by-step description of the steps coaches will take to acquire an assessment score for each player. Some points of emphasis here. The qualifying scores for the district tournaments must be conducted no sooner than Monday, December 17th. Each player will roll or toss 8 bocce balls. The coach will only measure the closest 3 balls and record their distance in inches. If the Polina is displaced from the original spot at 30, 40, and 50 feet, it is to be replaced on the original spot before the next ball is rolled and before any measurements are taken. All distances must be in inches only. If the distance is a fraction of an inch, round up to the nearest inch. Something added this year, Special Olympics Missouri actually did a really nice video that shows how assessments are to be done. The only difference in their video and what we do here in Maryland is that they actually measure in centimeters and we measure in inches. So sticking to inches is important, but for procedural example, this video is very, very good, and I highly recommend that you guys watch it prior to doing your assessments. Procedure: each player will legally roll or toss bocce balls from behind the foul line and attempt to get his or her ball as close as possible to the Polina. The coach marks on the floor with tape 3 spots where the Polina will be placed in the center of the court at 30 feet, 40 feet, and 50 feet from the end board. The coach places the Polina on the center of spot 1, and the player rolls or tosses all 8 bocce balls. The coach will only measure the closest 3 balls and record their distance in inches. The coach then places the Polina in the center of spot 2, which is at your 40-foot line, and the player tosses all 8 bocce balls. The coach will only measure the closest 3 at that point. Finally, the coach will put the Polina at spot 3, which is 50-foot line, opposite the foot fault line, and the player rolls or tosses all 8 bocce balls. The coach will only measure the closest 3 that are tossed. Measurements will be taken from the center side of the bocce ball to the center side of the Polina for a total of 9 measurements. These are to be recorded in the appropriate columns next to the player's name on the Interscholastic Bocce postseason registration. We'll be seeing that a little bit later. Diagram here shows you some measurements here. Under the best practice here is a really good suggestion for doing your assessments. It really helps get kids done efficiently, but also using time well. In order to conduct the assessment efficiently, a court can be segmented into 2 horseshoe-shaped sections. The coach is to mark the appropriate foot fault lines. Note those using a ramp are to complete their attempts from the 20-foot fault line. I've personally used this example for my assessments. At the school that I coached at, we had 2 courts, and that gave me 4 places to do assessments. And we had a pretty big team, so it was really nice to do four athletes or partners at a time and get them assessed. So I highly recommend doing this. Sideways here is your post-registration sheet that shows you where you put your teams in, or you put your members of the team in, and their information. Please be sure to do this as neat as possible, and record your measurements to the nearest inch. That is what we are looking for with these. And this will actually conclude video 2. Please join me for video 3, where we will be going over our state tournament fact sheet, applications for participation, affirmation of eligibility. See you in video 3.